Hello YouTube family, thanks for joining me on this video. And as you can tell by the image to my left, that we're again discussing Joe Manchin. I did a video before on Joe Manchin and the fact that he is just a corrupt conservative Democrat from West Virginia. And this video focuses on a Zoom call that happened between Joe Manchin and a group of billionaire donors, campaign political donors. On Monday, the Zoom call was leaked to The Intercept. The Intercept is an independent news outlet, very good news outlet. I would recommend, if you want to consume news, you want good journalism, honest journalism, The Intercept would be a good place to go for news. And the writers of the article were Lee Fang. The primary writer of the article was Lee Fang. Ryan Grimm, who I believe is the Intercept's Washington bureau chief, was also named on the article. And The Intercept received the leaked audio. They did not say where the audio came from. And it's, as I said, between Joe Manchin, the West Virginia Democrat senator, and a group of billionaire donors that are with a group titled No Labels. The name of the group they are part of is No Labels. And I apologize if you hear the chirp in the background. There is in our house, there's I believe a smoke detector that needs a battery replaced that I'll have to get around to dealing with. But it was a Zoom teleconference call obtained by The Intercept. No Labels is a big money operation co-founded by former Senator and Democrat Vice Presidential nominee Joe Lieberman. The No Labels group funnels money to conservative Democrats like Joe Manchin and moderate Republicans. In the call, Manchin expressed an openness to filibuster reform, which is at odds with his public position. As you may recall, during the 2016 presidential race, you had Hillary Clinton against Donald Trump, and she had made a comment between private and public positions, and people made fun of her for it. But, I mean, what she was saying wasn't untrue. And this is an example of that. You know, Joe Manchin recently in public, although he has flopped back and forth on the filibuster thing, his public position lately, including an op-ed in a West Virginia paper, was that he is opposed to changing or doing away with the filibuster. However, in this call with the donors, he did express an openness to change the filibuster. And so his public position is he's opposed to any change to the filibuster. He's opposed to doing away with filibuster. His private position with these people who give money to folks like Manchin is that he is open to reforming the filibuster. And the billionaire investors and executives on the call included Louis Bacon, Chief Executive Officer of Moore Capital Management. It's a private equity firm. Kenneth D. Tuchman, founder of Teletech. Howard Marks, head of Oak Tree Capital, one of the nation's largest private equity firms. There were dial-ins by other wealthy entities. along with political influencers like Ron Christie and Joe Lieberman, the co-founder of the organization these folks are a part of. Nancy Jacobson, the other co-founder of No Labels, led the call. The assembled wealthy entities were interested in the filibuster staying as is. The filibuster staying in place helps to hold up bold progressive legislation that wealthy people, that corporations, that organizations like private equity companies fear could cause their taxes to go up. If we fund progressive legislation that is intended to help the average working stiff, then the money has to come from somewhere, and most likely it would be in the case of increasing taxes on wealthy entities. You know, you have Joe Biden, who had proposed raising the top federal tax rate from 37% back to 39.6%, where it was at before the 2017 tax reform. And you have all of these wealthy folks opposed to that 2.6% nominal increase. They're afraid that doing away with the filibuster could hurt their money, could hurt their bottom line. And so this is where the focus on the discussion was for a part of the call. And Joe Manchin told the group of billionaires that he needs their help to keep the filibuster in place and as it is. His rationale to the group is that the progressives of the party, their best argument against the filibuster is that Republicans filibustered the January 6th commission. As you may recall, Democrats were trying to put together a commission to investigate the riots at the Capitol on January 6th that involved people breaking into the Capitol, damage to the building, deaths. There were 5 people that ended up dying from the events of that day, and the fact that Republicans filibustered the most common sense thing you can do, the most common sense bill. The nation's capital was attacked. The Capitol building was infiltrated by a group of people who don't seem to be that bright or that sophisticated. And it's reasonable to say we need to know why this happened. And so it should be easy to put together a commission to investigate that, to get all the details about that, and who was involved and what caused this whole attack on the nation's capital. The fact that the Republicans filibustered this shows that they have no desire for bipartisanship on any substantial legislation. This is an easy lift legislation, simple, and the thing is, McCarthy, the leader in the House, put together a group of asks for a commission. I want these 11, 12 things. And Democrats said yes to every one of them. He wanted it to be equal Democrat and Republican. He wanted it to be the leadership equal Democrat, one Republican. Everything he asked for, they were giving him. They gave him on the commission, and you still had Republicans that voted against it in the House. You still had the Senate that filibustered it and killed it. The Republicans in the Senate filibustered and killed the legislation. He was on the call asking for help from the collective of billionaires to flip enough Republican votes to create the commission so he could claim that it was bipartisan. That, look, Democrats and Republicans came together, they wanted this commission to investigate the January 6th riots. Manchin suggested that they contact make contact with moderate Republican Senator from Missouri, Roy Blunt. Blunt is retiring from the Senate at the end of his term. He opposed the commission. He was part of the filibuster in the Senate. And the suggestion from Manchin was, if some of you all who might be working with Roy in his next life, meaning when he gets out of the Senate and is looking for a high-paying position as say on a board of directors. A lot of people get out of Congress, whether the House or Senate, and they'll get on the board of directors. They'll get a non-voting board of directors position on 4, 5, 6, however many boards of directors of companies. And all those boards of directors positions come with six-figure salaries. In the end, they make millions of dollars. And that is part of the corruption in Washington. You go into Congress, you do the bidding for the corporations, for the billionaires, for the executives who run the corporations. And then when you get out, your reward is millions of dollars paid every year for not having to do anything. To take a non-voting position on a board of directors where you don't have to show up for anything, you don't have to do anything, you just collect money after you get out of office. That kind of obscene corruption, it's common. It's very common. And his suggestion was for some of y'all who might be working with him in his next life, that you could tell him that'd be nice, and it'd help our country. That would be very good to get him to change his vote. Senate ethics rules forbid future job negotiations. This is the reason for Manchin's coded language. Manchin in the call never said directly, if some of y'all are going to end up giving Roy a job, then you can tie his future job prospects to telling him he needs to vote for this bill. He needs to talk to some of his friends in the Republican Party to vote for this bill so we can get it passed and we can claim bipartisanship works. The January 6th Commission bill got 56 votes. It was 4 short of what is needed to break the filibuster. And if Roy Blunt changed, they would still need 3 more votes. There was a Republican who wasn't present for the voting who said if he was there, he would have voted for the commission. Maybe he's telling the truth, maybe he's not. He didn't show up. You also had 2 Democrats who didn't show up. And, people argue that Republicans won't do the simple lift. The January 6th Commission, that's a simple lift. That was a completely bipartisan commission put together to investigate how and why the Capitol was attacked and infiltrated. It was completely bipartisan. Everything the Republicans asked for, they were given in it, and they still filibustered it. Manchin's Senate office appeared to be in the background of the Zoom call he was on. It is against campaign finance rules to solicit funds while in a federal building. And if you listen to the call, you will understand that the suggestion from Joe Manchin was to use the money that this group put together to push Republicans, enough Republicans to flip their vote to get the January 6th Commission bill to pass, so he can argue to the progressives that we don't need to alter the filibuster, we don't need to do away with the filibuster, bipartisanship works. Look at these good Republicans that voted for this good bill. That's the argument he's trying to put together for his colleagues in the Democrat Party, the more left-wing progressive members of the party. And he's asking this group to use their money to make it happen. It's all coded language. It's all suggestion. It all you listen to it, it's like listening to mafiosos talk. They never say anything directly. It's all coded language so that they're trying to skate all these rules to try and make sure they don't openly violate the law to where they could be taken into court with this audio and charged and convicted. The group talked about how much money it planned to raise and on whom it would spend the money. Manchin was suggesting some money be spent on Republicans switching their vote on the commission bill. A spokesperson for Joe Manchin's office had this response. Senator Joe Manchin was discussing the issue of money in politics, which is laughable, and the impact campaign donations have on senators and members of Congress. He was not soliciting donations for himself or anyone else. The representative for Manchin was Sam Runyon, who gave that statement to The Intercept reporter. And Margaret White, the co-executive director of No Labels, basically said the same thing as Runyon. Manchin had previously stated, and this is his flip-flopping on the whole filibuster discussion. Initially, his position was he was opposed to eliminating or weakening the filibuster. Then he said he would be willing to go back to a talking filibuster. And then for a while, he got tired of answering questions about it. So his answer was he just wanted the Senate to work, which is a non-answer. It's a weak sauce way of avoiding the topic. You know, I just want the Senate to work. And then he went back to being opposed to the elimination or weakening of the filibuster. And now on the Zoom call on Monday, he said he was willing to change the filibuster. So, flip and flop, back and forth. Who knows if he really has a position? Who knows? The No Labels members on the call said they planned to put together about $20 million in this cycle. They talked about having directed $50,000 donations of hard money to House members last cycle. And hard money, hard dollars, that's money that goes directly to the politicians' political action committee, so they have control of it. You have political action committees that politicians set up themselves to run their campaigns, their political campaigns, and those political action committees the politician has control of. They have hands-on control of. Then you have the various types of super PACs out there that the politicians are not supposed to have any control of. They're supposed to have no communication with. Super PACs are basically people who start political action committees for a politician. They will run ads for the politician. They'll run attack ads on the politician's opponent. And supposedly they don't coordinate with the politician or his campaign. That would be illegal. But the hard dollars, they were saying they were giving these $50,000 chunks of donations out last cycle to multiple candidates in the House in hard dollar donations, which is money that goes directly to the candidate. And they were saying in a lot of the cases, their donations were the largest single donations the candidate received in the cycle. It would be illegal for a person to donate $50,000 to a political campaign. That's why it's bundled. And I don't know if you watched too much of the 2020 campaign. You had discussions of bundlers. And that's one of the things that used to not exist, as far as I know. But it's a very common thing in modern politics, that politicians have bundlers who work for them. That is people who go out and seek bundled money. Then you have the bundlers like this No Labels group who bundle money to give to politicians. And that's where they have multiple wealthy entities donate money, like they were saying, for this next cycle, 2022, they plan to put together around $20 million. And they're going to break it off in chunks of whatever, $50,000, $100,000, whatever they break it off to the various politicians, Republicans, and conservative Democrats they support. And that's bundled money. That is multiple people's money in this group, in this chunk they give to politicians. That way, it's not a single person donating $50,000. It's bundled money from multiple people. That's how they skate the laws. This Zoom call is just A through Z of how politics is corrupted, how they weave and wind to skirt the laws in this country to be corrupt and to get the corrupt bribe money, which is all this is bribe money. No labels. Personnel expressed intent to mobilize donors around pivotal votes, basically expressing that we give money. We have very wealthy billionaire donors. We donate large chunks of money. Quite often, when we donate money to politicians, it is the single largest donation that politician gets. And we do it around votes. We give money in return for votes we want that benefit us. That's basically what they're saying. And in the link, there's a link to the article in source data in the description of this video. And in the Intercept article link, there is audio, the actual audio for the, if you want to listen to yourself. I mean, the Intercept is very upfront. They have the article, and this is what it looks like on their page. Just below, you have the title, the subtitle, then you have the journalist credit, and right below that you have where it says West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin. That's the beginning of the article, and then you have this little box with the audio in it, and you can play it right there on the Intercept's website. Very easy. You have, I believe it's Fang and Graham, the two journalists, talking at the beginning, and then wherever I'm at on that bar there, that's about where the audio of the Zoom call picks up. And this is an example of how politics works. Next is an example, very good example, of how politics is corrupt and the corrupting influences and the forces. Joe Manchin is certainly a part of that. Every Republican, as far as I know, except for there's one Republican in the House who does not take the corrupt bribe money, as far as I know. There's no Republicans in the Senate that turn away the bribe money, and most of the Democrats take the bribe money. You have Bernie Sanders in the Senate, who does not take the bribe money. Elizabeth Warren, when she was running for the 2020 Democrat nomination for president, she was running a grassroots campaign. I don't know if she's moved away from that and has started taking the money. But then in the House, you have a number of folks like the Justice Democrats, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, Rashida Tlaib, Ro Khanna. I believe Premier Jayapal is a Justice Democrat. Don't quote me on that. You have a number who just got elected this last cycle, 2020. I mean, there are a number of Democrats in the House who just fundraise from small individual donations from people. And that's by design. Justice Democrats was started, I believe, by Cenk Uygur, the founder of the Young Turks Network, and Kyle Kalinske, who has his own YouTube channel, and he does political analysis. And the whole purpose of the Justice Democrats is they collect money from people. People like the viewers of the Young Turks Network will donate to their PAC, Wolf PAC. And that is a political action committee that is made up of individual people donating money. The money is spent on progressive campaigns for progressive Democrats who sign on to their pledge. And their pledge is they will not hold the fundraisers with billionaires. They will not take the corrupt corporate money. They will not allow super PACs in their campaign. They will not allow large donations from the corporations. The whole point is to have politicians who are beholden to you and me, the average working stiff, and not to the corporations and the wealthy. Because most politics, all Republicans pretty much, and most of the Democrats, they are beholden to corporations and to billionaires. Those are the people who pay them. They pay the large donations to their campaigns, and they're the ones who hire them when they get out of office to pay them back for doing their bidding, like I was explaining before. And so that's the audio that's in the article itself. And Joe Manchin is caught dead to rights. I mean, he will try and smooth talk his way out of it. He'll maneuver just like he does. I mean, I explained it how they try and avoid obviously breaking the law. Joe Manchin never directly said, if you give money to Roy Blunt and you get Blunt to help you get a few more Republicans that will take your money and switch their vote. He never said anything directly. It was all suggestive. It was all, you have an interest in keeping the filibuster in place so that nothing gets done. You, the wealthy private equity firms and corporate executives and random billionaires, have an interest in the filibuster staying in place. Because if the filibuster is in place, then the minority party can make sure nothing gets accomplished in Washington. You have that interest. He's like, I'm willing to help you out. But to defend the filibuster, we need to pass something that's bipartisan, which is not really bipartisan when you're buying votes, which is what this is. If you're buying someone's vote, it is not bipartisan. It is purchased. And so he, I'm sure, was hoping nobody would ever hear this Zoom call audio. Unfortunately for Joe Manchin, it got leaked. And my daughter had asked me, the Zoom call audio was leaked. Was it the billionaires that leaked it? To which my response is most likely not. The billionaires don't want it to leak. Joe Manchin don't want it to leak. But what you have working for the billionaires and what you have working for Joe Manchin are average working stiffs. There's most likely some average working stiffs that are working for these billionaires that are doing all their tech stuff, that are making sure that the Zoom call is set up, the audio is set up, that everything's good to go. You have people who work for a living who are involved in this, both on the no label side and the Joe Manchin side. Most likely it was one of those working stiffs whose head exploded with how corrupt this call was that leaked the audio. Joe Manchin wouldn't leak it. He was, I'm sure, hoping this audio would never see the light of day. The billionaires, I'm sure, were hoping this audio would never see the light of day. It has. It got released. The audio's online for anybody to listen to. You can follow the link below, as I said. Go to the Intercepts article and play the audio for yourself. And it is a master's course on political corruption in the year 2021 in America. Joe Manchin is worthless. And for those of you who are Democrats who point out that some of the really crappy Republicans need to go, You know, you may point out Marjorie Taylor Greene or Josh Hawley or Ted Cruz or whoever. They're really bad. They need to go. I don't disagree with you, but there are also Democrats who need to go. And at the top of that list is Joe Manchin. He needs to go. And he is the poster child for what's wrong in politics, for what's wrong in Washington, and for what's wrong in the Democrat Party. If you are a Democrat Party supporter, you should be jumping up and down, screaming that Joe Manchin has to go. And this Zoom call is a perfect example of why he should go. Anyway, thanks for watching my video. If you like the videos, please give me a like. Please hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.